Hello and welcome to the Built in the Bronx podcast. I am your host, Maximilian Hill, and today we have a very special guest. Kwadwo Poku is a Lehman College computer science graduate who currently works at Yieldstreet as a software engineer based out of New York City. Kwadwo, thank you for coming on the Built in the Bronx podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing good today, Max. Thank you for having me. And yeah, definitely very excited to connect with all the Lehman students. Hopefully this podcast can, give you that extra motivation, and a bit of insight as to what it is you're aspiring to do. Currently at Yieldstreet, of course, as a software engineer, you barely ever have time, but, for this, I'm definitely glad to make time for it. So definitely glad to be here.
Well, we are flattered that a person with a busy schedule like yourself could find time for our students. You mentioned Yieldstreet. Let's start with Lehman. So tell me a little bit about your time at Lehman College.
Sure. Yeah. So at Lehman College, definitely a pleasant experience. The campus is nice and beautiful. But interestingly enough, starting off at Lehman, I originally wanted to do graphic design. So digital art required a lot of art classes, of course, but it wasn't until I took my first computer science course. And that was where I got that real taste. And, interestingly enough, somebody did tell me, I remember it was Professor Fulakeza.
Professor Fulakeza.
Fulakeza, yeah, definitely one of the, in my opinion, one of the best professors there, along with Professor Brian Murphy. These are super great, always very helpful.
They're awesome guys.
Yeah. But I remember he told me, he said, are some of you in here computer science majors? Majority of people said yes. He said, are some of you in here like digital art majors? I said, yeah. And he said, you should switch to computer science because when you're in this course, you're gonna want that. Originally, I thought, yeah, sure. I mean, we'll see. But I didn't know how true what he said was. And now look at me, over here. But yeah, I'd like to say overall, the journey in Lehman College was a very good one. I'm very grateful for the help that I received. Personally, I think that at Lehman College, it's not just about, okay, I'm here, I'm taking a course, but I think that the professors truly care. And when you are in a situation, trouble, whatever it may be, they do go the extra mile to try and help you get wherever you're trying to get. And so that I'm forever grateful for. But yeah, definitely great experience. And so take good advantage of it because it's not
mentioned the campus. It is a beautiful campus, I gotta say. It's like a hidden jewel in the Bronx.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people know about it. More people should. And you mentioned two great professors, Professor Fulakeza and Dr. Murphy. Two great guys. And I agree with you. They do care about their students. And I've seen both of them go out of their way to help students make sure that they succeed. So more testament to the quality of the computer science faculty at Lehman. So tell me a little bit about the process that you went through to get your first job as a software engineer, because a lot of our students are, they're either having their internship right now. Some of them didn't get internships, so they're actually looking for a full-time job. Tell me about that process, because I mean, it's different for everyone, but I think our students would like to hear about what that process was like for you.
Yeah, sure, of course. For me, it was an interesting process. And I think the first piece of advice or starting place I would say is definitely make sure when you're taking these courses before you get to your senior year, make sure you're understanding and paying attention in class. That's number one. But once you start getting to those higher level courses, look for internships as early as possible. Definitely look for internships. You may underestimate it, but guess what? A lot of jobs come from internships. Like you can go and have an internship and you do really well. And the company will tell you, hey, we really like you. We would like to give you an offer when you graduate. Just literally come to us. So internships are a great way you gain industry level experience and you sort of really get that practical feel of what it's like to be in the field. So that's number one. I'd say definitely go for those internships as the first step.
Did you have an internship that led to your first full-time job?
I definitely did. Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about the process that you went through to get the internship.
Okay. So in order to get the internship, I sort of laid out this two-step plan, right? The first one is you need to first get these recruiters' attention so you can get an interview in the first place. And in order to do that, you need projects. You need to build projects, build a portfolio, put these things on your resume, things that stand out. You know, you can start off with like a calculator app, but build something you're interested in and, you know, stand out, because it's not, well, you're not competing against 5 or 10 people here, right? You're competing against a large, you know, audience of people who are all over the world, right? So build projects that make your resume stand out, and you can recruit and attract recruiters that way. That's step one. The next thing that I did, and actually as an example, one of the projects I built was this social media website. So that's something that took me a while, but I had that on there. So afterwards, I would say practice your lead code, practice your hacker rank, practice these algorithms, get comfortable with these, you know, being able to talk through how to do this. Because one thing that sometimes people realize too late is interviewing itself is a skill. When you are in this process and you're in an interview, yes, you're going to be nervous. It's fine. Recruiters understand that. However, you don't want to just be mute typing away at the keyboard. Talk to the interviewer. They want to know what's in your head. How are you thinking? That is really what they're mainly evaluating over there.
Yeah, I found that, especially in technical fields, whether it's finance or tech, once you get into like a competitive, reputable company, everyone there has the required technical skills, right?
Absolutely.
And I've seen it over and over again. The people that end up as the leader, right, as a manager, director, is a person who is able to build relationships, right?
Mhm.
So so you have to have both. You have the technical skills, but you also have to be able to, you know, build strong relationships up and down the chain of command.
Exactly.
And I guess, you know, people with you work, that people that you work with as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's very, very important. See, in the process of it, you know, just be yourself. But like you said, build those relationships, and that can actually be what pushes you over, which was the case for me. My competitors were people that had an even better foundation than I did. But what made me stand out, which they told me afterwards, was number one, my willingness to learn. But even though I may not have had that solid foundation like this other person, I had a good foundation, but I was able to explain what I was doing to where they're like, hey, I know what he's thinking. I know how he thinks, and I think he'll be a good fit in our team here.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Tell me about rejection and how you handle because the reality is, if you have ambitious goals, right?
Mhm.
Uh, I don't think in the history of anyone who's ever built anything or achieved anything, I don't think there's anyone who went through life without rejection.
Oh,
Maybe not Steve Jobs, but
yeah.
maybe not Mark Zuckerberg. But
Mhm.
other than those two guys, you know, I think everyone else has to eat a lot of rejection. So tell me about how you dealt with that during the
Yeah,
process.
definitely. Definitely. You have to grow an appetite for rejection. And you know, in the sense that don't look at rejection as a failure, but more so as an opportunity to learn where can you do better, because that's just how it is. You are going to get rejected. Majority of the companies you apply to, there's a great chance that they're going to hit you back with a no reply email saying, we appreciate your interest, but we're going with somebody else. However, with each opportunity you get to interview, with each rejection you get, you learn from it. You get better and better and better to where you can go into an interview and feel comfortable with it. I had rejections. And in fact, my rejections were towards the end of the acceptance period for internships, meaning if I got one more rejection from the place that I currently work at, I would have had to wait to the next year to get another internship. So it's a lot of pressure, but I think it's really about the mindset. You know, if you look at it as a crushing rejection and it just lowers your self-esteem, it's going to be difficult for you. But if you look at it with a challenger's mindset, you know what? It is what it is. It comes with the territory. Pick yourself up and keep on going. I think that is really what's going to get you where you want to go. And that'll take you a long way, you know, past just internships.
Uh, what books would you recommend to either a current Lehman student or a recent Lehman graduate that's looking to break into tech or business?
Yeah, if you're looking to break into tech or business, going more from the angle of maybe somebody who is trying to get a job or trying to get an internship, I'd say one great book to definitely have is Cracking the Coding Interview. That book is very good because it not only walks you through step by step how these algorithms work, but also how to think as an engineer, right? And also how to interview. So it gives you sort of like the best of both worlds with these things. And I'd say definitely, take that, read that, get practical with it. And a lot of these books also give you more references to other books. But I'd say one of the main books I would recommend is Cracking the Coding Interview.
There's a billboard overlooking the Cross Bronx Expressway, and it could say anything you want in 10 words or less. What would it say?
Good one, good one. Okay. I would have it say something along the lines of coding is a tool, engineering is a mindset. And I think this is something that is easily overlooked, but very important to understand. To be an engineer is not just knowing how to code. To be an engineer means you need to be able to think critically through these problems, ask the right questions, and figure out solutions. You need to think out the box. Coding is just a tool to help you solve problems, but the real solution comes from the mindset. So yeah, going back to that, I'd say coding is a tool, but engineering is a mindset. And when you understand that, you'll go places.
So tell me about your mindset, right? How did you build your mindset? Describe it in more detail for us. Because I agree with you, everything these days is mindset.
Oh yeah, yeah. You'd be surprised how far your mindset would take you. And the way I was able to build my mindset was more so, at some point, I had a moment of realization, which was sometimes you do something, you're not good at it, you get upset, you stop. But today, literally, the world's information is at your fingertips. You can, if you don't know how to do something, there's YouTube, there's Google, there's ChatGPT, there's like literally infinite resources to help you learn these things. And so getting into the mindset that just because you don't know something doesn't mean you have to stay that way is what's going to help you progress. Having that mindset of being eager to learn is what's going to take you from not knowing yesterday to knowing today to understanding tomorrow. And that's how you better yourself. So I think once I developed that mindset and grew that appetite for learning, things that I would see and be like, this is so difficult, no longer did I look at it that way. It was more so like, wow, I can't wait to understand this. And now guess what? I have something under my belt that I didn't have yesterday. And the one last thing I'll say about that is this mindset puts you far, far away. It helps you stand out from the rest of the crowd because this is difficult. This is hard. People don't like to do hard things. People don't like change.
They don't. And I think there was a book I read by, I think he's a chess master. His name was Josh Waitzkin. Have you ever heard of him?
I do not think I have.
I think the book was called The Art of Learning. And he talked about there's two mindsets when it comes to learning. One, there's the fixed mindset that says, okay, I'm built with these gifts. This is my IQ. I know I'm not good at this, but I am good at this.
Right.
And that's it. Right. And then there's the growth mindset where people, maybe they're aware of what they're good at, aware of what they're bad at, but they had the belief that they can improve the things that they're bad at, right? And maybe they not become masters at everything, because no one's masters at everything, right? Because if you spend all your time learning software engineering, you are, you're choosing not to learn how to become a lawyer or how to become an actor, right? Different. We all have to make choices, but the people in the growth mindset were able to, I guess, push through adversity when things got hard. And they like, if you look at the data, more and more were able to grow and learn new things. And the people with a fixed mindset didn't have the same, success, however you want to define success.
Yeah.
So I try to implement a growth mindset in myself, right? And with the students and clients that we work with. Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very important. It's not easy, but it's well worth it.
Yeah. So when you're looking back on your time at Lehman and I guess your career up until now, so you're a fairly recent graduate, if I'm right. So not a huge sample size, but if you were looking back on it and you could do something different, what would you do? What would you have done differently?
Good question. I think what I would have done differently is really take the time to appreciate and not look at my courses that I was taking as I'm doing this just to get a grade. I'm doing this so this professor is not on my case, but to actually value what it is that these professors are doing for you. Because trust me, once you're in the industry, there's nobody coming there to say, have you done your homework? Have you done this? No, 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 no.
Yeah.
The habit you have to build now while you have the chance. And especially at Lehman, these courses that you take, operating systems, networking, AI, all of these courses, I've come across many engineers that never got that opportunity at whatever schools they went to. So you having this opportunity, take advantage of it, because instantly when you go into the field, you have a leg up. So take these courses and value them. Don't just, I'm just trying to get a passing grade. Actually try to understand the material.
Yeah. I think most people, especially when they're going through school, I think they default to, man, I just want to get this done. Because
Yep.
it's stressful. School is stressful. I
It
mean,
is.
even for smart people,
Mhm.
sometimes more so for smart people, because they care about their academic reputation, right? And they know the importance of every test, every semester, right? Boom, boom, I gotta be,
Mhm.
But sometimes I feel like we put too much emphasis on strictly the results. Of course, the results always matter, right? Whether you're in school, whether you're in business, whatever. But I think learning is the most important thing, right? Because the results don't come unless you learn.
Exactly.
And if you always just, I guess, once you get in the work world, and I've seen, and I was guilty of this, like many people, like the strategy is not to just sit in a cubicle, right? And then like pound out code endlessly without really thinking about what you're doing, right? You need to
Mhm.
be strategic,
Yeah.
because I don't think anyone has ever achieved, massive success from their cubicle,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no,
Uh,
definitely. You need more than that.
you got to get out of there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but no, I think it's a wonderful tip. I agree with you. Focus on the learning. Um, and then sometimes you can get caught in the weeds and not see the bigger picture, but good
Yeah.
advice. Good
Yeah,
advice.
there was one experience I had with what we just mentioned where I studied so hard for this test. And when I got to the test, I forgot that one question that I studied so hard for. And so I got like partial credit on it. But at that moment when I saw the results, guess what? Instead of like losing my mind, no, oh my gosh, I studied so hard for this. I was like, you know what? I'm okay with this. You know why? Because at the end of the day, I know that I understand that question. I just happen to forget it. It's human error. It happens. But I got something more valuable, which was I learned how that thing works and I understood it. That I can take with me anywhere.
Yeah. Another thing I think too many people emphasize like perfection,
Mhm.
and it's exhausting because no one is perfect.
Yeah.
And then computer science and finance, two fields. There's a lot of emphasis on perfection, right? But that's not the reality. I think if you wait till you get the perfect job, or I don't think there is a perfect job out there.
Okay.
Every job, even the best jobs, have their warts, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think what was it? I saw a presentation about the CEO of a drone business,
Hmm.
not talking like military drones, but like regular sized drones. And one of the things he said was, the most common mistake I see people who are trying to get started in the drone business is they're hamstrung by perfection. They're waiting for the perfect time, and the reality, it's never the perfect time. You just need to
Yeah.
get started and make progress from there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess last question we have for you. Uh,
Mhm.
what's something that most people don't know about you?
What's something most people don't know about me? So I think this is, at least for people those that do know me now, um, they probably think, wow, this guy's like very studious. He's very like stoic, like he likes to do things this way and get things done. But interestingly enough, this wasn't always me, right? Like I was actually the polar opposite. I was the reverse, And like I said, when we first spoke, originally I was interested in digital art just because I like to draw. I knew how to draw. But at some point in time, um, when I had that mindset switch, it completely changed me, like a complete 180. And that's why when I tell people now, hey, do you know that, I wasn't always the studious guy. I was like the guy who missed his homework. It was like making people laugh, like that kind of guy, right? And they don't believe it. They say no. You
Dude,
never. I can see it.
if you can make people laugh, I'm telling you, that is a skill and a power that's worth gold.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Especially these days where I feel like so many people are stressed out for many reasons. In
Yeah.
politics, we spend too much time behind screens, all these things. But I feel like if you can make people laugh, that's definitely a huge skill to have
Definitely.
in
Definitely.
any line of work.
Yeah. Personality. Just be a lively person.
Yeah.
But
If one of the Lehman students wanted to get in touch with you, what would be the best way for them to get in touch with you?
yeah, you can definitely reach me at LinkedIn. I check it pretty frequently. Kwadwo Adusei-Poku. That's like, you can see my name on there. You'll see my picture. It's me.
Yeah, we'll share your profile on the post for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I say that's like the main avenue you can contact me on. I respond pretty frequently. So
Okay, good, because I think we're going to have some students reach out to you
good.
because I know a lot of them are looking for those first links in their professional networks, right? And that was one of the ideas that we had, one of the reasons why we started this podcast, because we thought, okay, this is like a gentle way that we can introduce people like you to them, and they could watch it, on their own time, from the privacy of wherever they are. And they get they get a little 30-minute sneak peek into Kwadwo before they reach out.
Right.
I myself have become a much more confident, aggressive networker. And I became that way because I got laid off and then I had to figure it out,
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think a lot of our students aren't there yet, and they have maybe a little hesitancy to reach out. So, we try to make those introductions on behalf of them. So,
Yeah, definitely. I encourage them to definitely reach out. I love to help people, like, whatever experience I can have that I can share. I genuinely take joy in doing that. So if you have any questions, even if it's just a one-liner, just go ahead and reach out.
All right, Kwadwo. I think that's all the time we got for today. But we want to thank you on behalf of our students at Lehman College and everyone at the Built in the Bronx podcast. We want to thank you so much, genuinely, for your time today. And we hope to have you on again. Hopefully talk more about your achievements, and then maybe we can talk about some students that you've mentored and helped get their first jobs, right?
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Thank you once again, Max. This is a very beautiful experience. And I hope that the Lehman students that do watch this, get something good out of it. So,
all right. Thanks a lot, Kwadwo.